Group 1 carried out an analysis of Dr. Thokozani Khupe's social media account. We first checked Twitter, and then we saw this tweet where she posted about a 57th birthday. So one of the comments which we saw, Musa Tsangwise Vashakavu Mbuya, happy for who? Kuti urichi nasi. Msaomesere vabereki, they are turning in their graves from your Judas Iscariot tendencies. Uisa wekutengesa birthright. Nekuda musuva 1 wesadza. I am not with you in celebrating. Yakabaritwa nyoka. So this one we classified it as cyber harassment because it's diverting from the issues. Whereas she has posted about her birthday, but we see that there's the aspect of her parents being brought in and they are not even involved. And then we've got the political aspect being brought in. Yes, we know she's the president of the party, but she's just posting that she's turned 57. So this is also, we've got another aspect here, cyber trolling, because it's meant to stir up emotions which have nothing to do with the post, but we have got politics being brought in for others to comment. And if you scroll down, you'll see that we've got more hate coming from such comments. And then we also have there's a comment from the leaders of tomorrow. That person is commenting, you haven't been attending meetings when Tsvangirai was alive. You came after his death to claim the presidency. Uyanya uyazi.
Uyanya uyazi.
Uyanya uyazi. Sorry about that. So we classify this as what? As doxing. We classify this as doxing because it talks of the past. What does this have to do with their birthday? They are bringing things that belong to the past. We also classified this under harassment and trolling because we see that it's also meant to raise emotions. Yeah, they are invoking the name of Tsvangirai. So all this is aimed at raising emotions from other people who hate Thokozani Khupe. And then we can go to the picture.
And even this one, little did they know that they'd given birth to a gold digger who will betray the nation for ZANU-PF of breadcrumbs. I used to look up to you, but I regret that ngoba isiwule siyawukhulela. Chihure chinokhulela.
Yeah, so that one is quite serious. Yeah, and then there's this picture. As you can see, so much effort was put into making that picture. We've got the aspect of doxing, which was earlier described as gendered hatred, because it shows there are so many connotations to this picture. She's being held as a trophy. It's like it is carrying a trophy. And then we've got all those legs being exposed and her buttocks. The connotations are clear that this person is of loose morals, to put it in a good way. This is trying to silence her. And then we've got that caption below, captured. So it implies that she's captured. And then moving on to the second part of the question. I don't know if others want to contribute anything more on the first part?
Maybe on the picture. I'm saying maybe on the picture, we are seeing two politicians there. One is putting on his whatever army uniform, carrying a gun. He's serious. But for the female, we're only seeing her legs, her buttocks, and nothing much. So it kind of paints a picture. Yoguchi, you know, she's got nothing to offer. This one is carrying a gun and in an army uniform. So yeah, it's really sexist. Yes. I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
And then moving on to part 2 of the question, we were asked to advise a young upcoming female politician on how they can use social media and get the best from their social media accounts. On the first part, we also checked Thokozani Khupe's Facebook account, but we saw that the last posts were from 2018. So we didn't do any analysis on a Facebook account. So on the second part, our advice to a young upcoming female politician, firstly, I would advise that this young upcoming female politician doesn't post any personal stuff on a Twitter account. She should keep it strictly professional. We had the example of Stembi Sonyoni, who is the current Minister of Women's Affairs. From those who have checked her social media accounts, she rarely posts any personal stuff like the issue about the 57th birthday, which we're seeing. She posts about the time where how she spends her days, like visiting women in Bingham, visiting women who are basket weaving, visiting SMEs. So this has its own advantages in that it doesn't give a chance for those who want to troll, who want to do all sorts of funny things. And also, closely linked to that, she should also post only relevant things. If it's about development, if it's about constituency work, and so forth. We also advise her to display what you are doing, but also put controls. If you go to Facebook, it also gives you options on how to control who comments and whatnot. You can even delete some negative comments. But then, if you delete the negative comments, there is the disadvantage that some of the criticism is positive criticism. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just have praise worshippers, but you also want to get alternative views. So if you only have those yes men as your followers, you might not know what people really think. Perhaps you're an MP, perhaps you're a councillor. You need to also to know what other views people have. You should have knowledge of your constituency. You should have knowledge about issues such as current affairs, so that you are able to engage, so that you are able to debate on issues, and you don't get stuck when people start to quiz you, when people start to interrogate you.
So we are going to look at how social media hinders the participation of women, and then we look at the example of Fadzai Mahere, and lastly we are going to tell you how women can utilize social media. So we discussed that social media is often intimidating for female politicians. There's bad characterization of female politicians on social media. They are often embarrassed, their characters are assassinated, then there's social annihilation, not only on social media, but in the spaces that they live in. So for example, if you are being described as a hure on social media, it then means even in the community that you live in, whether it's your family, whether it's your church members, those people may start seeing you in a different way. And then it also impairs dignity and destroys their careers. more often than not. The snowball effect of online space means that sometimes because of desktop journalism, we find something that has been tweeted by someone without any truth in it can make it to an online newspaper. That means that you are already news around something that is not true. So women tend to keep away from social media. But then where the world is going right now, social media is going to be very important for political participation. It's going to be important for female politicians. I think the councillor was talking about how people who from 2007 to now, who are also going to be voting soon, some of them will not be going to rallies. They'll be relying on seeing you on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on Facebook to vote for you. So this then hinders female politicians' participation. So they miss an opportunity to present themselves, and they are not known by the electorate. Political parties are now investing in social media as well. So this will be very important for female politicians who want to also be present in the political space. So I'll give an example of how President Mnangagwa, before he was active on social media, he recruited sort of young people from ZANU-PF and said, on social media. So it is that kind of presence that they have that can be intimidating for female politicians. So from here, we now look at the example of Fadzai Mahere, who is the spokesperson for MDCA. Fadzai Mahere has been called Nyembes. So this is like the poster that we are using as an example. Don't vote Maure. 30-year no husband, ZANU-PF project. Nyembesi, for those who understand, the where it comes from, Nyembesi is a term or is a name used for a young woman who is said to be loose in a community. So if we said to be loose, a woman who is said to be a wure is called Nyembesi. Someone is, yes? This, Shona.
It has been corrupted. Yes. Not the actual meaning of Nyembes.
It's not the actual meaning. It's a name. Yes, there are people called Nyembes. But then a person who was said to be loose in the community, Kudara, even Kumamisha, in the rural areas, Emakai, they would call that person a Nyembes. So this is where Nyembes actually comes from with regards to Fadzai Mahere. So her attacks, the most interesting thing we noticed about Fadzai Mahere is that when she was an independent candidate, she was not a threat on the political space. So she was not attacked in the way that she became attacked when she became the MDCA spokesperson. Then at that point, the fact that she's 35, she has never been married, she has no children, started coming out. She has been attacked for, or said to be sleeping with Chamisa. And this we consider to be cyber misogyny, because it comes from the fact that a woman can't be said to have come into power without sleeping with a man. So this is, we call it cyber misogyny. 5 years, there was the issue of how the MDC constitution says that you have to be in the party for 5 years before you get into the positions, for example, that she found herself in. While we agree that there's something that probably went wrong in the process of electing her, the issue should have been the attacking of the process and not her as a person. So we found that to be harassment. There was harassment of her. Using of her title, if we look at the online spaces, there are some men that are called advocate. There are a few people who refer to her as advocate because they don't accord her the same respect. The issue of Fadzai Mahere has also been mentioned already. In Zimbabwe, in social spaces, for you to be 35, to be single, to have no children, is often it's a soft spot. It's a soft area for people to attack because they believe that it silences you. So they've tried to silence her by looking at her marital status. Fadzai has not only suffered cyber attacks from men, but she has also suffered attacks from other women. I think some of you may remember the conflict between her and Petina Gapa, the author, that happened on Twitter sometime last year, I think. where she was attacked for snatching husbands, sleeping with married men, and also not getting to Oxford the right way. So, I mean, some of you know that for you to get into Oxford, I don't know if there's anyone who has seen another way of getting around Oxford, but it's really straight to the point. You apply, it's either you get it or you don't get it. But because maybe Bettina helped her with her application paper or something like that, she said that you were not qualified to get into Oxford, and I'm the one who actually enabled you. So the attacks have not only been from men, but they've also come from other women. There were also pictures of her being accused of sleeping with ZANU-PF candidates. So there's a picture of her that comes up. So, for example, this tweet, good morning, Advocate Mahere. Is it true that you are dating a ZANU-PF MP and he pays for your gym sessions? Netumwe tuma nice. Is it MDC Zimbabwe policy to eat from the same system you purport to be disgusted with? So, because it's Fadzai, and because probably she's of marital status, and also because there's a gap that trollers find easy to play around with, the fact that she's single. These kind of attacks keep coming several times. So if you Google Fadzai, if you go to a timeline on Twitter, you see that this is a soft spot for most trollers around her life. Who she's dating, who she's sleeping with, and mostly because it's ZANU-PF. The thing also being, is it a crime that maybe she dates someone from ZANU-PF? Maybe not. But then the issue is, it's always a soft spot for people to attack. And then there's a picture, some Photoshop that was done with her wearing her T-shirt, her independent candidate T-shirt was replaced with Emerson Mnangagwa as a way to reinforce that she's sleeping with MDC, with ZANU-PF, sorry. And then she was also, that's the photo we're talking about. And I'm sure if you look at it, you can see it's Photoshop. And then she was also attacked for being a child of ZANU-PF. And these are some of the pictures that were also being used. A child of ZANU-PF, being that her father was a senior civil servant in government. And because of that, she's said to have been a beneficiary of ZANU-PF. So those are some of the attacks that have also come against her. And then we talked about the trolling by other females and men. And then we also, there's also a picture of her which we couldn't locate. Okay, maybe I'll address this first. There's this, we call it doxing. Despite the fact that maybe the majority, even some in this room, were actually marching in November 2017. But because it's Fadzai Mahere, this is now used against her because she has taken a key position in opposition politics. So it's easier to use this to attack her and to make her powerless and to make her not have something to say. And maybe it questions where she stands today and where she was in the past. And then there's also a picture which we couldn't locate where Fadzai's face was placed on an animal's body to show the extent of how loose she is in court.